What's going on?
How
we
doing?
doing?
Amazing.
We're just gonna copy each other the whole time.
We're on the
We'll
same
get it done.
wavelength.
We'll get it. Hey, that's two great minds think alike, right? Or
Exactly.
However it goes.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Let me do one quick thing real quick just to make sure.
Let some peeps get up in here.
Yeah. Yep. Some people funnel in real quick. But yeah, exciting news. Exciting news. Big news.
Let's go. Anybody who's joining in, I put in the official links. I put the PDF. Kind
Beautiful.
of, we're gonna go over it. Kind of outline what's going on. But I'm gonna at here in the general chat and let people know that it's in there.
That's a great idea. Good idea. So yeah, so those that are, if you're watching on Twitter, if you're watching on YouTube, yeah, whether, check out, make sure you're in our Discord to check out this announcement we're going to be showcasing here. I'll actually pull it up while we're waiting. This. Boom.
Boom.
Partnership. We're getting some things rolling. When we talk about what we want to do as a collective, one of the biggest things is bringing in large assets within these games that the collective can utilize not only to earn revenue, but to potentially, shape the ecosystem into what we want it to be, supporting the developers, supporting the players, creating all the tools and rental protocols and stuff that people would need to succeed, whether you're, a small scale player that's either wanting to play on the free to play side or with limited resources, or you're a whale that has a ton of resources out there. So we have officially partnered with BlackHarpe to bring the one and only ancient celestial claim to the Gala Collective. On top of this, there's a couple legendary claims we're going to be circling in as well that are a part of that kind of package deal. But yeah, we're really excited that, as of right now, the one and only ancient claim in the game is going to be ours. And the game launches on the 30th. So really exciting news. It's going to be big.
Yeah, I guess, the main point of this document right now is to highlight how powerful of a moment this is for us as a DAO. We still have some stuff to get fully ready before the seed starter launch, and things will start feeling, much more real. But we have a legit DAO now, like it's about to be like we're all going to get to work together, right? Everybody who buys in like gets to have a say in how this shit gets ran. Like we get to work together. The community gets to work together. Like it's kind of all clicked for me too, being in this, building it, like getting this ancient claim and like knowing like we can get the whole community behind it, and it's not just some whale running it, right? It's just some random person you don't know who's getting somebody to manage it or something, like trying to extract the most value out of the game possible. No, it's not that. It's
us.
It is, one, the only ancient claim that's been sold so far, and two, 20% of the total ancient claims, even if whenever they do get sold. So we're going to have this major say in this game. The community is going to have a hold on the game. Like we're going to be able to be impact players together, and that's what gets me pumped up. That's what gets me like I want to play this thing for y'all. Like I want to work together. I want to have people behind me working together. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, no, and like you just said, I mean the resource side of it as well. I mean, the fact that as a GG token holder, you can come in at whatever dollar value you potentially want to come in at, and essentially have a stake in the earnings of, these large scale assets. Like you just said, I mean, at this point, this is the only ancient claim that's in existence in Echoes of Empire that's been sold. The game launches in 18 days. So we're going to be able to really tackle that from the forefront and not necessarily run the entire game, but like you said, I mean, provide a position to empower players throughout the game ecosystem, whether it's, like we said, people wanting to come in and they're like, oh, cool. There's a place where there's players that are actively engaging in the games. They might want some of our assets. Let's see if we can get a deal together and give these assets to the community as well. Or, on the other side, you're the player that wants to come in and get a little taste of it and actually be able to get your foot in and play with these high value assets. I mean, the structure of what we're going to be able to do with this claim it's really big. It's going to be a really, really cool experience.
I think that's like, I mean, from more of a ethical standpoint, I think we all have that inner worry. It's kind of like we're getting to watch like an authoritative government. Let's say when a country's made and there's the authoritative government, the wells that run the elites that run the country, and then you have, you know, kind of how the United States was made was against all of that. We got our independence. We started out decentralized, right? And we put a constitution in that made a democracy and blah 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 blah, and has led to what we are now. Like that's kind of what we're fighting against. That's in our hearts is what we're fighting against. Is these games are there's a delicate balance in these economies and these tokenomics and these games of they can get thrown off. People can come in and not care about the game, screw over the economy, extract as much as they can, and then next thing you know, people aren't playing. Or for us, we think it's insanely important that like we as the community is in the driver's seat. Like the whole like 20% of the game is ran by a decentralized organization. Like we're not just a one well running it all, getting to make the decisions. No, we all have to decide how much do we want to extract. Do we want to at all? What do we want to upgrade? Who do we want to attack? Who do we want to work with? Right? Like so much that goes into it. That's like, when one person's making the decision and you have the authoritative government, it's just it can get messy and
It just doesn't work as well.
no.
I think it's more difficult to. Oh, I want to see. Ed777 had a comment in our Discord. How does this news affect the free use plan of these NFTs and other forms being as part of the Zeta Guild? I actually, I can't give you a great answer off that right off the top of my head. I'm not sure what agreements they had necessarily been entered into with those with the Zeta Guild. I'm not sure if they had any sort of official contract lined out or anything. We were able to get an official contract outlined and signed, and we're going to be presenting. We're still getting all of the rest of the documentation put together in an easy and transparent way for you guys to all see. Previously, similarly, I want to highlight this. When we earlier made an announcement of our work to bring Vox battles into the Gala Collective, we have outlined, essentially a preliminary contract that has to be executed by the token holders following the token sale. So, our plan right now is at this point, we've committed to essentially a preliminary contract in this for the time being up until the community either approves or denies or wants to renegotiate the deal. We'll share in 50-50 split of any resources gained, any revenue earned with BlackHarpe. That will essentially just go into the treasury that will be held until, at the conclusion of the sale period, in which, then the community will essentially get to decide what they're doing with those funds. But no change of hands of NFTs, no change of hands of any money or anything like that will happen until the community is able to say, yes, we like this, or no, we don't like this. We will be presenting all this information to everyone next week to kind of outline, hey, this was our agreement for this kind of preliminary contract. This is what we're thinking. Following the token sale, every GG token holder will have a say on whether they like this or don't. And we kind of spoke on this beforehand. This gives us the easiest way to make progress without making a decision on behalf of the entire potential Gala Collective, right? I mean, with any decentralized organization, it always starts centralized. And right now we are centralized because we haven't held our token sale yet. We're still in the process of getting all of our SEC filing in place. We're in that last little stage of legalese and things we have to go through. But within that, we still need to be able to make progress in some capacity. And so for us, what we came to the agreement collectively with, us that are working on it right now, Tim, myself, Nate included, we felt that, laying out these preliminary agreements that then the community gets to decide to execute or not allows us to at least make some headway. So that's essentially why we've done it the way we are. We're going to be presenting all the community, the specifics of the contract at the beginning of this next week. But yeah, I know that doesn't exactly answer your question. I can do some digging and get a specific answer to that question you asked me, but I don't want to BS you something. I don't really know what agreement had been in place prior to this. So
To his second question, though, in EoE, will Gala Collective function like a guild? So this is where it's going to get fun. So I'm heading up as the CGO, so Chief Gaming Officer. I'm going to be in charge of how we do all this, and it's going to be interesting. We're going to all work together. Everybody who is a GG token holder will get to be a part of the decision making process and how we go. Do we, every game is different. We're seeing this, like a game like Spider Tanks has no guilds in the game, so it's do we just, like if the collective had assets in Spider Tanks, are we just running tanks? Do we have a guild? But then in Echoes of Empires, now working together and having a guild might be completely crucial. We might have to have a guild in there. So yes and no. Yes, we're gonna, the collective's goal is to do what the collective wants to do together, right? Like if we all decide to vote like, oh hey, we're gonna be a guild, we're gonna absolutely dominate, we're gonna work together, we're gonna crush the competition, boom. Okay, we're gonna do that. We're gonna work together. Or if it's like, if the game is set up and the collective votes on, we're gonna be a neutral party, we're gonna be a facilitator of commerce, we're gonna work and be beneficial for everybody. Like, and everybody's gonna pass through us like an intergalactic space station or something. Boom, we're gonna do that. It's gonna, like, we want to do what's best for the collective as a whole. Now, this gets into another part of kind of the strategy behind this from our perspective is we care about, like, we start getting these massive assets. We have to worry about like extracting too much from these games in a negative way. We have to care about these game ecosystems, and from our perspectives, we see many more ways to make money and monetize things other than direct extraction from the games itself, right? We can hold events, have contests, have content creation, like partnerships and advertising money for working for getting spots on our land. So many different agreements that can be taken, that where we can actually bring money into the ecosystem instead of extracting it. And then all of that said, we get to work on that together. We get to decide. So
I think you can look, I mean, think about how many people out there, when you look at, especially the content creation side and kind of that media side of it, I mean, people make money in Web 2 gaming without extracting anything from the game itself. So the opportunities to kind of go, slightly in that more traditional mindset of, okay, like let's let the game be the game. Let's try to pump, instead of taking all those resources out, let's put that directly back in and make the game better, bigger and better. That way more is coming in, more people. And then, maybe it does get to a point where this thing is rolling. We can really comfortably, take out some of these resources so we can go explore a new game without harming the ecosystem. But like you said, at first we want to act as, okay, how can we make the game fun? and make it last. We don't want to come in, take all the earnings out of a game and kill it. I mean, that completely goes against the ethos of why we're creating the Gala Collective in the first place. We want to be here for the success of everyone. We're like we said, we're trying to be that right hand man with Gala. We have no official partnership with them. They haven't endorsed us or anything of that nature. But we all as individuals have exposure to their ecosystem. So why not come together and create a positive place for us to elevate all of our experiences, elevate these projects to the next level, regardless of what Gala wants to do or not. I mean, we own some of these assets. Let's make awesome experiences for each other. Another thing that was coming to my mind when Tim was speaking on Ed 77's question on, will the Gala Collective function as a guild? Completely agree with Tim. It really does depend game per game. It might be more beneficial in certain games. Like a guild doesn't make sense here. It makes more sense for, the individuals within the collective to play as individuals. But that doesn't mean the community of the Gala Collective isn't there, right? Like when you look at the whole Gala Collective, it almost is a guild, so to speak, right? You're going to have people educating each other. You're going to be able to play with people, message people, hey, like Superior, right? That one might not work specifically for a guild because it's, more solo run based, but that doesn't mean you can't run it with all your Gala Collective buddies or in the Gala Collective rent Superior assets and utilize them in game. Like the structure of what we're building is trying to be as holistic as possible in that sense. So while some games might not have a we might not have a superior Gala Collective guild, we still want to have assets for Superior that the Gala Collective members can come and use, and we still are a guild in that sense, just not you know compete competition wise or whatever that may be per se.
Yeah. And so we do have this little period where there is no GG token holders and we don't have voting. And once we do get the launch, it's 90 days until GG tokens are distributed. So what that means is there will be play time while the game is live, while there is no votes going on. And so speaking to directly to Ed and Zeta, like we're going to work with y'all. We're going to work with everybody that we can, right? I personally know that Zeta has been the in Echoes from the beginning. Like he's been very vocal about wanting, like loving the game, and y'all's group is a big Echoes of Empires players. So we want to work with y'all. I'm going to work with Moff on it as well. And at first when we are learning the game, seeing how everything um is structured. I mean,
Yeah,
like, we don't know, like, we
we have
don't know
limited
how the
information.
land, right? We don't know. Like, I'm digging constantly. I'm with y'all. I'm gonna be personally running the claims and running them the best I can, and making partnerships, and who's gonna protect the claims, who's gonna run the claims. How we don't know how the land is gonna work. Like, we have a lot to figure out, right? And yeah, I want to try to work with everybody and create those symbiotic relationships.
Yeah, and I don't. And now that you saying that, a point got brought up in my head of there's no reason why guilds can't come to the collective, right? If the collective has assets that guilds want to come and be able to utilize, yeah, we're here for the community. Like we're not trying to separate ourselves. Like we're this, you're that. We're not going to support you guys. Like these are our assets and Gala Collective, guild assets only. That's not necessarily the structure we're envisioning. Um, there might come a point in time where if the Gala Collective gets to a point and the Gala Collective community members like, hey, we want to forge our own guild and utilize our own assets rather than loaning them out to this other guild. Maybe that does come at a point in time. But I think, like Tim just mentioned, since that governance side isn't really necessarily going to be in place right away, considering the game launches in 18 days, yeah, we should all work together. We want to hear, granted, there's no voting input. We want to hear all the input. If you guys are like, hey, no, we should be running this way instead, like tell us. Like we want to have those communications. We should hop on voice chats and talk this out as we're learning the processes. We're going to be building out documentation as the game launches, so we can continually look at it and be like, okay, this is where this is the best strategies and so forth. And we want that to be a cumulative effort between the community. We don't want that to just be, no, this is what we think is the best. If someone looks at that and is like, oh, actually, no, you can do it X, Y, and Z instead, let's change it. Yeah, we didn't even know that. Like, let's work. Yeah, let's dominate. So I think
I
there's
think,
room for so much collaboration.
and this is where I'm really excited to see how, it's kind of a, like, in my head, I've an iron sharpens iron mindset of, I kind of want there to be competition between these guilds where, let's say, Zetaverse comes in, they have, this is what we can provide for Gala Collective and the Ancient Claim and blah 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 blah. And if it's not a good enough deal, and Jim comes in and they have a better deal or a better way to work with the collective, it's dog eat dog. Like, it could be the collective's going to vote on it, and it's not up to a singular person.
Mhm.
And so, yet that being said, guilds will have an integral part. It's like, hey, we're proposing this to the collective, and they can campaign and campaign for us to work with them. And essentially, we're all working together, but competing, because it's a game, and we're kind of all competing at the same time. Even when we're working together, it's going to be interesting. Oh, I know, Anthony. Yeah, I'm in the midst of digging around. I've reached out to the devs. I'm hoping that they, I've said, hey, Gala Collective owns the Ancient Claim. We're gonna, you know, y'all have a teammate in us. We are a decentralized organization. We're all gonna work together to run this claim. We don't want to be negative entity in the game. We care about the game. Let's build it together. We'll see if they reach back out. Um, I'm hoping the silence is a good thing. It's my optimism.
Yep. You got to be
It's my
optimistic.
optimism.
Well, and I
I'm
think, even if
manifestation.
we look at it from a cynical side, right? I mean, this is why we built the contract out the way it was, for protection for the community. If we take a look at it from a cynical side, right? Say, oh, okay, we have zero new information about the game. The game's about to launch. What if it's a complete dud? Well, we don't have to execute the contract. I mean, that's the community vote, right? I mean, it gives us some wiggle room and some protection on a risk side of, hey, like, or, on the flip side, it's way better than we thought it was going to be. And we're like, holy crap, we're glad we got this contract initiated now, because that might be a smoking deal compared to what this is actually worth. So, I think from the collective side, obviously we hope it's going to be great. I really think it's going to be great when you look at, 4X games and that nature. It shocks me how many people like really, really love those styles of games, like Civilization. I mean, things that there's, yeah, it's a big community of really dedicated players, and hopefully, we're able to bridge that gap of Web 2 players to the Web 3 side, because I really think this takes especially that 4X level up a notch, right? Because these resources are legitimatized, they're real to a degree, right? I mean, if you can export them and so forth, it gives kind of another immersion layer of being like, oh, I'm really playing this game, and that mining activity actually means something for me, rather than just, am I going to level up or not?
He said, I think the big things, and not necessarily the game loop or mechanics, should be the land rush and upgrade packs. Oh, I know. I mean, it's crazy how much we don't know. I've been scouring the Echoes of Empires Discord all day, trying to see what's been said and what hasn't. It's so vague that I stopped, like, trying to make assumptions, because I was just making things up at that point. But this is, I hope what happened. Hey guys, I got a crazy puppy back here fighting. She goes ham when she gets the zoomies. But I
Oh
hope
yeah.
I hope what happened is, they we're seeing the new trend of game devs having this progression based development, where they release something that's not ready, and they just keep updating it as they go, and it works great for some teams. But then some are just like, it's hard with artists. They release a product and then they get the imposter syndrome, or they don't release a good enough product and they can't handle the heat of getting shit on for bugs and blah 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 blah. I'm hoping that they went into their hole and entrenched themselves and just dominated the game development. And I've seen that with my hope is that Gala has done that too with a lot of stuff, because they've been saying Thune forever and blah 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 blah, and like have been saying that they've been working so hard and they have so many things that are gonna knock all the FUD out and blah 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 blah. I'm hoping that they told the Echoes of Empires team to do that. Like, hey, just go radio silence and just focus on building the game, and then get us a release date, and then we'll release the game. Hey, like, let's figure out the Gala chain integration. Let's figure out Dust and the tokenomics. Let's get all that stuff figured out so the smart contracts are stable, and that's my optimistic view. The fact that they said they gave a launch date and then haven't talked at all, really, and we don't know when the light paper is, obviously a little concerning, but we're going to make the most of it. And that is why I'm happy that the collective has this deal, because I want, like, I'm tired of not knowing the truth. I'm tired of all of us spending so much money on these games and then not getting anything, like, I want us to work together, have a voice, be able to, like, hey, y'all, we spent $1 million in your game. Like, it's unheard of to have a customer that spent $1 million in your game and then not talk to them. That's weird. So, like, let's work together. You have a whole community behind you. Let's go.
Yeah, Gala, no, God, I see what you say. I think this has a lot better of an opportunity than Legacy. I think
It's cooler to me than Legacy.
it is, and it's Legacy. I think was destined to be. To me, it was just almost too similar to Town Star, Common Ground Worlds. In that it was that style of game. It was that kind of production style, town building, simulation kind of ish game. Like, I know it was more kind of businessy oriented and so forth, but this is the only like 4X game, like they're, or at least the first one that they're really pushing out. I think this has a better potential to grasp more individuals. And I think, especially in the play tests and so forth, I think people enjoyed that what they saw earlier in this project compared to what they saw earlier in the legacy project. That's just arguably my opinion though. So
What is the
yeah, I hope so.
what's the ancient called for the Heart of London, right? For Legacy?
I think
Either way, so this is where I want to propose this concept, because I totally see what you're saying, and I totally agree with what you're saying about Legacy. Where my head is okay, if the collective owned the one ancient for Legacy, right? And everybody, all the GG token holders had a piece of that, and so all of a sudden, an entire community was behind the ancient. I would say, like, right now with Legacy, I feel like nobody has a voice. There's no, like, powerful entity that's like, "Hey, let's get this shit done. Let's make it this way." Like, "Hey, this needs to change. This needs to change. This is too pay to win. This doesn't make sense right here." The devs have nobody to listen to, or they just are, like, just swiping everybody away, doing what they want. With Echoes of Empires, I feel like it can be different because we're all together. We're like, "Hey, this isn't gonna cut it, guys." Like,
well, it's that unification. I mean, it's so hard for. I mean, when I try to put myself in the other shoes, right? Say I'm a developer, say I'm Gala or whatever, and I have, something's pushed out, and there's, thousands upon thousands of individual people coming, saying, "Hey, I don't like this, I don't like this," and they're all saying slightly different things. Probably the core point of a lot of them is similar, but it's a lot easier to brush off an individual that you have no clue who they are. Maybe you've seen their Discord name a couple times, or you don't know what assets they own or anything like that. But if we're able to come to some sort of kind of unified like reasoning and be, hey, this is what we're all feeling, it makes it have, I think, a little bit more legitimacy in terms of there might be some more push. Yeah, no, I completely see your other point, though. It is scary. Like Legacy did kind of do the same thing, went radio silence right before the launch. White paper came out after the launch, didn't really have any valuable information in it. I know that's what, Anthony said in the Discord chat as well was, the white paper probably just going to be a copy paste of the Champions Ascension EPX light paper. That's not really a light paper. So,
Yeah, I feel like
obviously
we're
I'm
all
hoping for
dealing.
change.
Yeah, we're all dealing with a little PTSD here. And you
It's
think
hard.
like,
It's hard to trust, right?
well,
I mean,
they're all different dev teams,
yeah,
right? And so you'd hope that one of them will get it right. One of them's got their shit together. They have a moral code that to follow. To right now, it's felt like a lot of them haven't had a moral code, and don't really realize how much money was taken from them. Like I spent I bought 12 ancient tanks and spider tanks, spent 600,000, and I not really listened to for spider tanks. That's weird to like in what business ever as and I get I'm there's totally tons of them and they're not good businesses where you just screw over your companies who have spent 50 like if I went and bought a car for $50,000, they're going to take care of me. They're going to give me warranties. They're going to take, hey, come get a yearly checkup at the dealership. We're going to make
especially
sure
if you're
everything's
buying
fixed.
a $600,000 car, they're gonna
Yes.
pick up every phone call
I
you
go
ever
get a
call.
bit I get a Bentley. I get a Bentley. They're freaking on it
They're not
constantly.
gonna ignore your
Right.
requests or
So
like,
we have a lot of newbies in this world. A lot of these devs they didn't know what they were getting into. They didn't want what they partner with Gala. Gala sold like super sold their games. And I think in reality a lot of them were small devs and it's scary. And that's why we're here, dude. I want to help them. I am in touch with reality with what is probably happening with these games. I understand these devs. Like I want to help them. They need to stay encouraged. We need to, hey, it's okay. We're not mad. Like, let's go. Let's just
yeah,
work together. Let's get these games out. Let's dominate.
yeah.
Like, don't have that guilt on you that don't go and just rug a game. You're gonna regret it for a very long time. Like, stick with the game. We're gonna be there for you. Let's go. The collective should very publicly ask for early access to allow the collective to not only help create a user guide, but also to create some instructional videos, marketing videos to help launch. Boom. You're I should say you're completely in line with where we're at.
Yeah, that's
Like,
a great idea.
I mean, the content creation side, we have a ton of ideas. It's gonna take, we got a lot of it's development time on our part for our site and everything, but you know, I hope the game's set up where they have good lending opportunities so we can pump that out and have a bunch of content for that. I hope there's room for leaderboards and events and stuff as well, so we can get content like these games don't realize. Like, give us a game where all the content creators can come in and make shit tons of shorts, and boom, you have your marketing strategy right there. Like, let's
Or you
get in
look
here.
at just make an amazing game. I mean, I like Lethal
No, no, no,
Company.
no, 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 no. That's too much.
Like Lethal Company, when that game came out, it was $9 or whatever. Me and my roommate bought it. I haven't laughed that hard playing a video game probably ever. It was I mean, just and it's simple, right? There's monsters, it's dark, and the best thing about it is just the proximity chat stuff. Like hearing your buddies scream when they're getting chased is the fun. And it's like that game is bigger than Modern Warfare 3 right
That was
now.
in
And
pot. Like, dude, when
one guy created it.
Among Us,
Oh
it's
yeah.
the same thing, dude.
I mean,
Among Us was probably a 2-person team.
yeah, I mean, so you can indie and small scale devs can make amazing things because not everything has to be AAA, right? Like
I think that's what
you
we're
can
gonna
get
get
to
with.
that point.
I think we're gonna do that with Vox battles.
Everything can get 100%,
We're
right?
not gonna
And then we
over.
can get it to a point where it's arguably a AAA game. We don't need to be a AAA gaming studio to start small and build something great. I mean, there's so many things that started from the smallest idea and just gradually grew. It doesn't have to be, okay, we in 2 years, we need to have this game perfectly polished and ready to go. Well, let's back up a little bit. How about in a year, we get a fun, playable version of the game, talk with the community, and make improvements? Um, I think that's a, I think it's a mindset more people need to get into. And like you said, from the developer side, and I want to give a little bit of leeway in terms of, obviously we don't know what's going on behind the scenes in terms of communication between these studios and Gala, what kind of contractual obligations they have in terms of what can and they can't say. I mean, there might be limitations we don't know of. So I want to give a little bit of benefit of doubt in terms of, like you said, maybe they weren't given all the information when they came in and they're not trying to screw us over. They just weren't necessarily fully aware of what they were biting off. But, that's
Yeah.
okay. You did bite it off. So let's go forward. Like
That's what
let's finish it.
like my main theory is just, it was like two separate entities. You had the game devs and the product they were sold was Gala came to them and said, "Hey, we'll help you sell this game. We'll help you get funding. Like we'll implement blockchain technology. Let's make gaming great again." Yes, Holly. Um they got sold a product from Gala, like, and they got a little the game devs themselves got dissociated from their own products that were being sold for them because they weren't really the ones doing it. It was Gala. And they didn't really feel it. Like when this Aurora's Edge was sold, it was about $900,000 USD, right? Was what it was sold for. That's a lot of money. Why they haven't reached out to BlackHarpe one time? Could you imagine buying something for $900,000 and the devs, Gala, nobody reached out to BlackHarpe a single time about them buying it? It was nothing. Radio silence. So there's a to me what that tells me is there's a dissociation right now in communication, and things are not very clear. And that's what I think the collective will do is get to the bottom of it. We're gonna that's why we're saying we're the teammates and right hand
Bridge that
men
gap.
of Gala. We're bridging that gap. We need this to work, like we're gonna do this.
hmm No, I mean it's really exciting. We are beyond stoked to dive into this firsthand, and you know, there's gonna be it's about 2.5 weeks out, so we're gonna be full force.
Let's see. Ed's typing. Let's see what he got. Let's see what he got. Oh, do we have anything else on the thing? I guess we've talked over pretty much
I think
all of
that's
it.
kind of the bit. Yeah, I mean, more than anything else, we just wanted to get here, get some people in, and just be able to talk that, sca- Ed said, what's scary is talked with EoE devs at Galverse, and they said they proposed an NFT price, but Gal said, no, that's way too low.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
I mean,
And
and maybe that, I mean, I have a lot of thoughts about that. Granted, that was probably in the midst of when everything was super, super high. And they're like, no, we can get a lot more for that. The market's going to be way bigger than that. And I don't know.
Honestly, Ed, where that makes me go to is that's what I was trying to get at with between the devs and Gala. Like these devs, I think, it's like kind of the story between Apple and uh what's his face? Why can't I think of it? Tell me.
Jobs?
Steve Jobs, like he was the visionary, right? He wanted all the dope products. He wanted to push the limit, blah 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 blah. But then makes it a public company. All the marketing team comes in, blah blah blah. Business management comes in, and they start, nitpicking and trying to get the most value out of everybody, and blah 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 blah. I think these devs are like they're the visionaries. They don't really want to take people's money until they're happy with their own product. They're artists. It's emotion. They're wanting to create a game because they want people to play it. Um, and I think a lot of them bit off more than they could chew. And I think that's where the collective comes in. Is we're here with y'all. We care about your game. We're your teammates. We want to help you make the game great. Let's have nice thought out helping answers for things. Let's
make that asset worth
not
that
attack
much.
them. Right. Let's not attack them.
Let's bring that value, okay, that's what they said that price was way too low. Gala thinks it's worth this much. Okay, well, what can we do to make it worth that much? How can we make the ecosystem that valuable? I think it's possible. So
yeah. But yeah,
that's all I got.
That's all I got. I'm excited to play, guys. I'm gonna be like, look, hey, anybody listening, come talk to me about Echoes of Empires. If y'all have ideas, partnership ideas, stuff like that, let's talk in the collective chat so everybody
Let's get a big stream going after launch. Like, let's do a launch day stream. We can be hammering it. We can have people come in and play with us. And
my plan is to be streaming every day so everybody can always be talking to me and really have it that way. Like, I'm playing, my decisions are public. I'm not like, because it's the collectives, because I'm running it for the collective, I want everybody to feel like it's open and like they can see it. Like, if we go and attack somebody, they know it. They know it's coming, and it's like we're doing it together. We're doing it, and it'll be fun.
I completely agree with what you say. Rethink theory. How do you make it worth that much? It's not how it works. They need to disclose why it's worth that much. I completely agree with you. There is 150% a complete lack of accountability. On a personal level, that bugs me because I think if you're not true to your word, what are you true to? But our mindset and, my mindset specifically is, well, I can't control what they're going to do. Like, I can complain, and if I want to bitch and moan and, try to get an answer out of them, I can. I think we've seen that doesn't really work that much. So I think we're just I'm going in the different mindset of, okay, I have zero control over what they do, but I have every ounce of control over what I do. So let's try to bring value. Let's try to, maybe that's building sub games within the game, having indie devs come in and utilize some of our assets to, there's like Box Battles is doing, right? I mean, there's an opportunity to create value even beyond the Echoes of Empire ecosystem potentially. And, I think if we focus our energy there, we're going to be better off. Yeah, no, I agree. That's a good point. Don't buy things till they disclose.
Hey, you're talking to the guys that stop buying everything.
Yeah.
We're like, we bought everything. We need to make it all worth something now. Like, let's all work together. Let's make this shit worth something. Shout out to Adam. Thanks for joining, man. We're excited to have you. We're gonna dominate.
It's gonna be a good time.
But
all right, everybody. So beginning of this next week, we will be pushing out some more documentation, kind of specifically outlining, what the terms of this contract are. Making sure we hammer out the point of making sure it's clearly understood. This is our current, kind of pre-approved contract. Nothing is executed. There's no exchange of funds or no NFT transfers or anything like that until the community gets a say. So keep that in mind. And yeah, we're going to be throwing out some documentation for you guys to begin this next week, and we're going to crush it.
Let's get it.
All right, everybody. Have a wonderful one. We'll be posting this. I'll post this whole video. All right, it'll be on our YouTube page. You can rewatch it on Twitter. So if you missed anything, be sure to go check it out.
All right, guys.
All right, everybody. Take it easy.